Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade. If you appreciate what I've been doing on this channel so far, please hit the like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We're going to talk today about AEW Dynamite from October the 28th, 2020. So let's get right into the show. The show opens with an MJF promo, which is fine. And MJF is talking about if when Wardlow becomes the world champion, he's essentially going to take the world title from Wardlow because anything that belongs to Wardlow belongs to him. And then Wardlow pretty much agreed and said whatever. And then Sammy Guevara comes out of nowhere and he's real hostile. Sammy Guevara's trying to be mad and it's not working out because Sammy Guevara looks like a 14-year-old boy. So he comes out, he's like, I don't like you, man. He's like a real Bart Simpson with a Spanish accent. Spanish Bart Simpson. And MJF's like, whoa, 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 bud. You know how he does. He calls everybody bud and stuff like that. But he gave Sammy Guevara some some promo advice. So he told him don't talk. Just he also said that Sammy Guevara looks like he sells Adderall to middle schoolers. I was like, wow, that was a deep dig, man. That's part of, you should have hit him. Like Sammy really should have hit him right there. Like why didn't he hit him? I really want to know why he didn't hit him. But anyway, that was the preview to go into the Wardlow Adam Page match, which is weird because they just made Wardlow look like a babyface because MJF is talking about taking his stuff and basically bitching him out. And it's kind of like you're gaining sympathy for Wardlow, and then you send him out there to play the heel against Adam Page. But this match was really good. I wouldn't say really good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think that Wardlow's coming along. They're calling him Mr. Mayhem now. I don't know when they started that. And I probably just wasn't paying attention. But Mr. Mayhem is fine, I guess. It's a little generic. It's kind of like cartoon villain. Because it's like, define what that means. What does Mr. Mayhem mean? Okay. What kind of mayhem? Because there's a lot of guys that are big guys that are going around beating people up. Brody Lee does that. Lance Archer does that. Brian Cage does that. Will Hobbs does that. What makes Wardlow different? And I would think mayhem would involve weapons, blood, breaking the rules. But Wardlow doesn't seem to do any of that stuff. But it's a gimmick. Get a guy named, doesn't matter. It was a good match. I enjoyed that they did a good job showing Wardlow's power. He hung in there with Page move for move. I've been a little harsh on Wardlow because I know that he's not that far along, but I want to give him some credit for this because this match was enjoyable, and he took a T-bone suplex from the top rope, which is pretty cool. They tried to protect him. AEW does this far too much, but I get it. They tried to protect Wardlow. Now I'm gonna make some enemies here in a minute. But they had the buckshot lariat, the first one. He had to take two of them. The first one just dropped him to one knee. The second one obliterated him and Page won the match. Okay, cool. You tried to protect Wardlow by having him take more than one finish. Okay, cool. Thumbs up. I can appreciate that you tried. Okay. But I don't like the buckshot lariat. I don't like it. And I'll tell you why I don't like it. What's the flip for? What is that flip for? Like when he flips over the top rope, what is that for? It's like the lethal injection. I probably never said it before, but I don't like the lethal injection either. For that same reason. Why does he need to flip or go do a handspring and bounce off the ropes? I don't get, like, the move that actually does the damage is the cutter, right? So in the buckshot lariat, the thing that does the damage is the lariat. So wouldn't you want to use a lariat that increases your momentum? Now, if the buckshot lariat was, let's say, a springboard lariat, Like he, kind of like AJ Styles' flying elbow, where he kind of springs off the ropes into a clothesline. That would be fine. That would be fine as far as the buckshot lariat is concerned for a finish. But the little flip into I'm going to do a flip and then clothesline you, I don't see how that helps. To me, it's just an unnecessary flourish. It's like I would prefer it if he was like a Kenta Kobashi or a Stan Hansen. Like put your whole and yes, Adam Page is small. So it changes the whole dynamic. He's not as big as those guys. But he probably shouldn't be using a lariat finish if that's gonna be the case. Like do something else. But I don't like the buckshot lariat. I don't like it. It sucks. And I know a lot of people really do like it. And I know I'm probably on the wrong side of the fence when it comes to this, but I don't like extra moves with that little extra flourish on them. I just don't see like that doesn't, it looks pretty, but it opens up a lot of opportunities for it to be reversed and or stopped, and it takes a lot of time to set it up. That's another reason why I didn't really like the flying elbow smash for AJ Styles as a finish, the phenomenal forearm. It's cool and all, but it takes a lot of time to set up, and then you have to be in the right position and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's something you could do to everybody, but I don't necessarily think that it's the best move in the world. WWE does weird things. AEW doesn't have to do that. They could do something else. But it doesn't matter because Adam Page won. The move is over, so I can take that. I'm on the wrong side of history on that. So whatever. They showed a promo package for Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley pretty much says there's no room in AEW for this whiny version of Eddie Kingston. This whiny, entitled version of Eddie Kingston makes him sick. And he, as the world champion, who has been defending the title all over the globe, he's going to break Eddie Kingston's ego, and he needs to protect his neck. Look, I like the Kingston Moxley stuff. I'm enjoying that. They haven't botched it yet, so I'm still rocking with it. I'm still nodding to the beat. Still nodding like, yeah, okay. I still don't want this match on pay-per-view for $50, but I'm still nodding to the beat. I'm like, okay. I like the baseline that we got here. And then almost immediately afterwards, we get Eddie Kingston comes out to cut a promo and to wrestle his match. And Eddie Kingston's offended that Jon Moxley isn't there. He's mad that Moxley isn't there. He puts the cameraman out of the ring. Now, I think this was a great spot. This is excellent. He tells the cameraman to get out of his ring. He's like, you don't belong here. You ain't trained to be here. I like that. I think that was great. And he tried to put some heat on this match by saying that Matt Sydal was trying to steal his thunder and coming out as the Joker and in the Battle Royal, and even though he didn't lose the Battle Royal and all that type of stuff, it didn't make any. Who cares? Like that's not really heat. He tried. He was reaching. He reached for the heat. I don't think he found it though. So, like, I was just kind of like, that was like a month ago, 2 months ago almost. Who cares? Like, you got the title shot anyway, so why do you care? So, Matt Sydal comes out. Matt Sydal is great. I'm a big fan of Matt Sydal. Wasn't that big a fan of Evan Bourne. He was pretty plain. He was eternal babyface, colorless, bland as paste. But he's after whatever drug he took that gave him a personality, that's what it worked. So now he's a shaman or something like that now. So Matt Sydal was pretty good. Guy's a veteran. He's been doing this a long time. I didn't like him in this position though. His match with Eddie Kingston was okay. It wasn't nothing to write home about. Kingston is a bruiser. He wrestles like a bruiser. He does mostly hard hitting chops and he absorbs a lot of damage, but he keeps coming. He won with the Bulldog choke and then made Matt Sydal say I quit while he was calling him Moxley. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this for Matt Sydal. Like this is a guy who got something. Guy who has a, and I know he's not officially signed to AEW. They're keeping track of his record though. And I'm going to talk about that again later. I think if a guy's not under contract, who the fuck cares what his record is? You know, like he's at a 4-1 record now, 4-2, and it's like, okay, why are we keeping track of his record if he's not officially signed? You know, now again, I have not looked at Twitter since I watched the show, so maybe he was announced to have signed after the show. I don't want to look dumb. Let's just say, for the purposes of me making this video, I do not know whether Matt Sydal is signed to AEW. I do not check the dirt sheets. I do not check the internet. I just do these things off of my own feelings. I don't want to be informed by other people, because other people, you just end up repeating what they say. You know, like sometimes I'll say like a cornet line because I listen to the motherfucker too much. You know, so I try to get away from that stuff by keeping my bubble sterile. And giving you my full, like, I feel like you come to this channel, you're here trying to hear my opinion, not to hear me repeat what other people have already said. But I think Matt Sydal is a guy who has a place in this company. Along him and guys like him and Jack Evans, they've been around forever, and they have something to add. And I don't really like them as, and you know, maybe you don't want to push them as top guys because they are a little older. I know Matt Sydal's got to be in his mid to late 30s. But he can add something to other people. You know, Eddie Kingston, I'm not feeling it. It didn't sit right with me. Maybe I can't articulate it correctly, but it just didn't sit right with me with him being treated like a J Brown. They should have just put a J Brown out there. Really, if we want to be honest, he really should have put a J Brown out there and just had Eddie Kingston destroy some guy nobody knows about or cares about, and that way it wouldn't have made more sense. You could have, but Matt Sydal is a guy who you could use and build up and put time into, and you know, maybe even use him somewhere else. But they are loading up AEW Dark with talent, and it's turning out absurd things. Like I've seen. Before the show, when I was on Twitter, I stopped looking at Twitter at about 3:00 in the afternoon. And so, but the last thing I saw was that people were saying that AEW has gotten too long, that the show is too long now, or there's too many matches on AEW Dark. So they're loading up this AEW Dark roster, and absurd things are happening. We're going to get to the most absurd of these things later. But, yeah, these AEW Dark, they're counting these stupid ass matches as wins and it's like none of this shit matters. None of this shit matters. Okay, if nobody watches it, nobody gives a fuck. You giving this guy a win record of 4-1, that means that he's a winner. You know, you should give him some more momentum. You put him in there, he's like a goddamn J Brown. Like now, sure, the match wasn't 2 minutes. He didn't go in there and Kingston didn't squash him. You know, they did some back and forth. It was about 5 or 10 minutes. Fair amount of time. But come on, man. Matt Sydal is a guy you could put some steam behind. You know, he's a guy you could use to wrestle Cody. He's a guy you could use to wrestle, you know, Ricky Starks and give them some time. Give Jungle Boy some time to get better. Don't put him in this position where he gets dogged out by Eddie Kingston. Don't do that. It's a bad usage of him. It's a bad usage of Matt Sydal. So, speaking of bad usage, a bad usage of the Young Bucks of letting them talk. Okay, they cannot talk. And the one with the beard, the one who talks like he is tough as nails, I have, what the fuck? Like literally, what the fuck? So out of this whole shabazzle that they got going on here, I don't give a fuck about this promo at all. Okay, I don't care about this promo at all. But I do have a problem with what came out of it. Because the Young Bucks said if they don't beat FTR at Full Gear, they will never challenge for the World Tag Team Championships again. Almost guaranteeing that they will win the match. So you had some intrigue going into this match. That people were kind of like, oh, Young Bucks, FTR, who could possibly win? You could probably get more than one match out of this, right? You could have had FTR win the first match and then the Young Bucks got to build up to come back. Or you could have had the Young Bucks win the first match and then FTR got to build up and come back. But what you essentially did is you told me that the Young Bucks are going to win. That's what you told me. Because unless you pull a Cody, where Cody X'd himself out of the world title picture, you're telling me that you're going to do this match You're not saying that you're not only going to do it once, because FTR could lose the titles and then you can have the Young Bucks FTR match again. But you basically told me that the Young Bucks are going to lose or win this match, and that takes some of the steam out of it. Now, the steam has already been taken out of it because these guys were supposed to be baby faces, yet they've been attacking people for no reason. And I'm glad they addressed that in this promo, where Alex Marvez saying, well, a lot of people think this is comeuppance for how you've been acting lately. It's like, yeah, pretty much. It is comeuppance. They've been acting like douchebags, so they got beat up. Who cares? Fuck them. But let's be honest, man. I don't see the Young Bucks pulling a Cody and pulling themselves out of the title picture, because what the hell else are they going to do? Are they going to go into the singles market and, have these two guys wrestling singles? No. And, no. I don't see it. And unless you're going to have a secondary tag team title, like Cody pulled himself out of the world title picture knowing that there was going to be a TNT title. So, a title that he can win. We already saw that coming. When we heard TNT championship, like, oh, that's Cody's belt. Okay, now, what are you going to do? And I've heard back before the pandemic that there was going to be a trios title, because they was doing the whole Elite as 3 guys and Death Triangle, and it was another trio. I think they were doing the Dark Order at the time, was 3 people, and there was another. It was Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, and then there was another, 3 members of the Inner Circle and stuff like that. They was going to do a trios title. Now, you also had Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Dildo Boy. But you had those 3, so you had some trios, and maybe there was a lot of talk there was going to be a trios title. Now, is it possible that, the Young Bucks are going to X themselves out of the tag team division and move over to taking over the trios division? It's possible, if there's going to be a trios division. But you can't guarantee that. So my whole thing on this is the Young Bucks is pretty much telling us, hey, come order the show and watch us win the titles. I'm like, blah, thumbs down. Who gives a f? You killed part of the intrigue when you do stuff like that. But they said that we're betting on ourselves like we always have been. I'm like, whatever, dude. Whatever, dude. Now, this Inner Circle town hall meeting, they really could have kept this shit. What I've said before, you can be cringe. And on TV, you can be cringe. Cringe can be entertaining. You can be bad. Bad is entertaining. You just can't be boring. This sucked. Okay? It felt like Jericho doing the debate thing again. Okay? Even up to the point of Eric Bischoff coming out there again. I was just like, what is the point? Can we get to the point? Now, this doesn't mean that there wasn't some good things about it. I'm going to get to those good things about it. But I just felt like this was pointless. Like we took the scenic route to get somewhere, and it felt like, okay, we were asking these questions. And they're trying to be upfront with it because they're winking and nodding at the audience. They know that the audience, everybody knows that it's all fake and it's all phony, it's all bullshit. MJF is just going to turn on you. And basically that's what the damn thing was about. MJF eventually is going to turn on you, or MJF can't be trusted, or MJF and Jericho are basically the same person. You're too much alike. It's like, okay, we get it. It was too long. They could have shortened this shit up. I know Jericho feels like he got to have his 20 minutes, but he didn't need to do this. I did find Peter Avalon funny when he asked to join the Inner Circle. I would have liked for them to do something else other than just laugh at him. Like, it would have been funny if they gave him a test too. Like, you want to be in the Inner Circle? Well, you got to beat, Santana or something. If you beat Santana, you can be in. Or if you beat somebody else, you could be in. That way it could be like, you could test yourself to get into the Inner Circle. But it was obviously just like a big cruel joke. Whereas almost like, like that episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Carlton was trying to join that frat, and they basically had made up their mind that they didn't want him in it. They was just pretty much shitting on him. They could have did that with Peter Avalon. Would have been fun, and I don't care at all about Peter Avalon, but it would have made him fun because he would have been like their gopher. Like he's trying to become a member of the inner circle. But, they have no interest in bringing him in. They just have an interest in stringing him along. Like that could have made that whole ordeal fun, but they basically just laughed him off. Luchasaurus, fuck Luchasaurus, okay? I don't know what the hell he's doing. I don't know he's talking about being a dinosaur and having a master's degree. He's trying to be eloquent. And I'm just like, man, look, we could have cut out Luchasaurus and we could have cut out Reba's little part when she was marking out for Chris Jericho. We could have took that out because that was cringe. And it wasn't cringe in a good way. It was cringe in a, cut her out and shorten this segment up tremendously. Of course, Bischoff came out there, asked some good questions. What can MJF do for the inner circle? What can the inner circle do for MJF? These are things that you could have just had Eric Bischoff sitting down in the ring with these two guys and him ask just those three questions. We didn't need everybody else, the whole other peanut gallery. We didn't need any of them. These three questions were so important that they built up to it. When really you could have just went straight to these three questions. This segment could have been 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, and you could have used that time towards something else. But the Bischoff questions were good. They were useful. They furthered the story. Now, what I don't like, other than this segment, is that Jericho says that MJF has to beat him in order to be in the inner circle. And at that point, I say, if he beats Jericho, he should be the fucking leader of the inner circle. Hell, he should kick Jericho out if he beats him. Now, this is another weird thing that they're doing with this Full Gear stuff. And I know that it's leeching. Jericho's just attaching himself to all the young guys who are hot. Maybe he'll, I'll get to my predictions in a second about what I think is going to happen here. But we know that Vampire Jericho is basically doing what John Cena used to do, which is just latch onto yourself whatever is hot. But at the same time, it's a very odd thing to start the feud with a match. It's also very odd that you and this guy were singing last week about being each other's shadow. Me and my shadow. And now you're saying you don't really want him in the group. That he has to beat you up in order to be in the group. And he's telling you to your face, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. And so either they're about to buck fuck everybody who's about to pay money for this, and it's going to be a bash at the beach, somebody going to lay down, or it's really about to be some stupid shit. I don't see how anybody benefits from this. Like, it is not consistent. Like, consistently, if you were going to follow the story consistently, let's say, it would have had to be MJF would have to beat the people who don't want him in the inner circle. So it'd have been like, okay, MJF, you want to be in the inner circle, you have to beat up Sammy Guevara. Now they do have Sammy Guevara having a match with Matt Hardy. So you can't have MJF versus Sammy Guevara at the pay-per-view. You could have bumped Matt Hardy and had MJF versus Sammy Guevara in the pay-per-view. Just saying. But you could have just had that, a contingent of people that are in the inner circle who, don't want MJF in. And he got to beat them to get in. Now, they did set up this match, this Ortiz and Sammy Guevara versus Wardlow and MJF for next week. So he has to, he's going to have to beat those guys up. I can dig with that. I dig that. It's an oddball tag team between Sammy Guevara and Ortiz, but it makes sense in the story. You could have done something similar. What it could have been, look, then Jake Hager wasn't there, so you can't even use him, because it could have been like, okay, you want to get in the inner circle, you got to beat Ortiz and Jake Hager, two guys who don't want you in the inner circle. Has to be you and Wardlow versus Jake Hager and Ortiz at the pay-per-view, and you beat them, you get into the inner circle. Okay, that could have been fun, But now you went straight to Jericho. You've killed the build. So now you're saying, what match are we building to? If you're going to give me the match in order to give me the angle, which is MJF in the inner circle, what other match are we building to? Are we building to the rematch? Okay. And let's say Jericho wins. and MJF isn't in the inner circle, doesn't get into the inner circle, is he just going to beat Jericho up anyway? I mean, it's entirely possible. Actually, it's quite likely. And, then what? I don't know. Let's say MJF beats Chris Jericho. Now he's in the inner circle, but he beat Chris Jericho. Are we going to lead to another match? Like, that's the only thing I can think of, is that this is leading to another match. Not the first match. It's not the important one. That's a throwaway. But they're actually building up to another match following that. And I'm kind of like, $50 for the first match, though. If you're going to have this attitude, first match is going to be a throwaway, just do it on TV. And I don't like the idea that they were singing and dancing with each other one week, and now they're face to face saying that they have to fight and they're going to do whatever it takes, and basically threaten to cheat and eye gouge and hit each other in the nuts and all this type of stuff. Now, I did enjoy that Ortiz does not want him in. I like the heat. The heat part is good. The heat part is good, with Ortiz being a man of his own, because I like that he says that it wasn't Santana and Ortiz don't want him in. Santana's in the middle. He's like, he got a mind of his own. He's like, his partner is like, no, I don't want that. And then Sammy's like, no, I don't want that. And Jake Hager's not around. And Jericho's like, whatever. And so you got these two guys who are in a tag team, but they thinking independently. So I like that. I like that, and I like that Ortiz is stepping up. I just don't like the idea that MJF has to beat Chris Jericho to get into the inner circle. I don't mind the fact that he has to win a match to get in, but I think they should have changed the match. It's too late now because you've already set it up. But for future reference, it should have been like he had to beat Jake Hager, or he had to beat Ortiz, or he had to beat Sammy Guevara. He had to earn their respect through physical combat. That would have made sense, But him wrestling Jericho was just Jericho leeching. It killed the heat because they were just buddy last week. So there's no consistency. It's fucking stupid. It's stupid. And I don't know what else to say about it other than it's stupid. So the next segment was Taz cutting a promo about Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs is legit. He's big. He's fast. He fits right into Team Taz. And I could have swore Taz told him he had 1 week, and this is week 3. I could have swore Taz said you got 1 week, and it's week 3. So somebody must have forgot. Anyway, Will Hobbs joining Team Taz. Should it happen? I think he'll get more over by saying no and having to fight Brian Cage again, or having to fight Ricky Starks. And I think he can get more over feuding with them than he ever could with them, because hell, the two guys that if Ricky Starks couldn't cut promos, he probably wouldn't be over at all. People wouldn't even care that he was still there. People care about Ricky Starks because he can talk. Brian Cage, though, no, he's dead in the water. Brian Cage is dead. He just doesn't know it yet. And then let's talk about this conversation. I think it might have been kayfabe that Eddie Kingston dunked on Brian Cage. Brian Cage apparently still has the winningest record as a number one contender, and he basically said, like, how did this Eddie Kingston get a rematch before I do? I have the better record or whatever. He didn't say it in those terms. And then Eddie Kingston told him to get off his dick, and he lost respect for him. And I was like, wow. He literally typed "get off my dick" to this man. I was like, wow. That felt like, I don't know if that was legit or not. That felt that one was stiff. That was a potato. That was a potato. And he told him, the man, to get off my dick. I'm like, and I lost respect for you. I'm like, whoa, bro. Whoa. But okay, it was fine. But this is another thing that I really want to talk about. They have two, and I think I just did this with NXT, where it was two masked guys interfering and costing somebody a title back-to-back weeks. AEW is doing recruitment angles two on the show. MJF is trying to be recruited into the Inner Circle, and Team Taz is trying to recruit Will Hobbs. Somebody needs to say we shouldn't be doing these things at the same time. You could at least wait. I appreciate that they're trying to do something with Will Hobbs because they signed the guy and now he's officially on the roster. They want to do something different with him. But then you can't have the same storyline, two different places. It just doesn't make sense to me. Sorry. Now they're doing things differently, obviously, because Taz is trying to force Will Hobbs to join him by force, while MJF is basically begging and pleading to join Jericho. But it's not the difference is not big enough. It's pretty much the same shit. Now this match was Cody Rhodes versus Orange Cassidy, Lumberjack match for the TNT Championship. I didn't like Orange Cassidy is really small. He is really, really small. And I'm not going to argue with people about him being over or being the most over act anymore. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm just going to start looking at his work and looking at everything that he does and stop, trying to argue with people who say, Orange Cassidy is the most important wrestler on the roster. Okay. If that's how you feel, I'm not going to say nothing else. I will say this. He got bumped to the buy-in. So that should tell you how important he is. Anyway, this match was, it was Cody being Cody, self-indulgent. There was a lot of people, babyface is cheating, babyface is doing heel stuff. Cody is doing push-ups in the middle of the ring. He is being a heel again, because I guess Orange Cassidy is a face. Obviously, Orange Cassidy is a face. So because Orange Cassidy is a face, Cody is working heel, which means, but even if that's the case, you still got Trent throwing cheap shots to Cody, and it was weird. It was really weird. It was a decent match. It wasn't horrible. But they of course had the meltdown with all the Lumberjacks started to fight, and I was just kind of like, I don't care about any of that stuff. And Will Hobbs was out there for that, because it's like Ted's like, Will Hobbs, what's your answer? And Will Hobbs was like, I'm just gonna go be a lumberjack. I'm just gonna go be a lumberjack, dog. I'm just gonna go be a lumberjack, Brody. I need to drink some tea or something. My throat dry. And then you had Cody do the superplex onto the pile, which was, come on, man. Superplex onto the pile, come on, man. Here's the crazy thing. After Trent punched Cody, Dustin didn't do anything. Dustin was out there. Like, you had the Dark Order guys were running into the ring. I was just like, oh my God. Like, literally, oh my God. Like, I was thinking, like, this match could end in another time limit draw. And then maybe they could have did something else. But AEW is, they're a little bit different. WWE probably would have pulled some shit like that, like in a disqualification. And they had a triple threat match. AEW, actually, this is one thing that I do enjoy about them. They are not rushing to do multiple man matches. They're doing multiple man matches. They're doing battle royals and stuff like that, tag team matches and stuff like that, 8-man tags. But they're not triple threat match for the AEW championship, or nothing like that. They're having their titles contended for one-on-one, So I give them credit for that. And in doing so, somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. And Orange Cassidy lost. Arn Anderson cheated and John Silver interfered. But Orange Cassidy lost. He took a L. And so, Darby Allin gets his number one, his match is Darby versus Cody, which is the right match to do. People are not ready for Darby Allin versus Orange Cassidy yet. And I just wonder which version of Darby Allin are we going to get? Are we going to get Sting, which is, basically I'm going to sit up here quietly staring at you, or are we going to get Jackass Darby Allin, where he's going to put himself in a body bag and staple his nuts to his forehead? Or are we going to get fake Jeff Hardy Darby Allin? They need to pick a lane for this kid, man. Pick a lane for him. And we need to get rid of this Dark Order shit. Now, I've seen people who say stuff like, "Oh, Retribution is." What did Justin LaBar say? He said that Retribution makes the Dark Order looks like the Four Horsemen or something like that. And I was like, "This motherfucker on the payroll too? Like, you gotta be, you gotta be." Retribution lost 3 matches. Dark Order loses every fucking match they're in. Like, I don't. Okay, whatever, you know. But that's that brain dead shit. But I just thought it was weird. Like, Dark Order is doing, like, Retribution, they're losers. You know, I refuse to do another video about them. But they're serious. Or at least they're relatively serious. The Dark Order can't figure out whether they're serious or whether they're a comedy act. They've been on TV for a year. And we still haven't figured out whether we're doing comedy or whether we're doing serious, badass cult. We haven't figured that part out yet. So please don't give me that Retribution sucks. At least Retribution has an identity. Dark Order is schizophrenic as hell. It's bipolar. But Cody versus Orange Cassidy was not bad. I'll probably never watch it again, but it wasn't bad. I may watch it one more time. I don't know. Actually, nah. I'm probably never watch that shit again. It would be honest. If I watch this show again, it'd probably be Wardlow and Adam Page, and it'll probably be the main event. So the Best Friends had a promo. The Best Friends did a promo, and Kip Sabian and Miro approached them with a gift, and it was delivered by Penelope Ford, who was dressed like Orange Cassidy, which, I mean, your wife is going to dress like another man, okay? And then they beat up Best Friends because they did a trick or treat, and it was essentially a trick, and they beat them up. And I don't care about this. I don't care about this at all. And then they had this velocity level match with Trent Beretta versus Miro on AEW Dynamite. It might as well be on Dark because nobody cares. And then we had the NWA Women's Championship match. Serena Deeb comes out to the ring, and they show her record. And it is a losing record. She's 1-2. She's 1-2. She's a loser. And I say, like, this woman has a world championship. And you showed her record as 1-2. Come on, bro. Do this woman some favors. Do her a favor. You know? And then they put her in the match with this Layla Hirsch. And there's nothing wrong with the lady. Layla Hirsch is fine. She was actually pretty good. You know, she's stocky, strong. She's a better wrestler than Deeb, stronger than Deeb. The problem is she made Deeb look like shit because the match was so long, and then in the whole long length of the match, Deeb was losing most of the match. So you really just had, you know, why couldn't you give Serena Deeb, who's this freshly minted champion, go out there and have her beat somebody in 10 seconds, 15 seconds? In order to establish that something is new about her and that her record does not reflect how good she is. You know, that maybe something changed in the match with Thunder Rosa and now she's a completely different competitor and she's going to be, you know, on the ball from now on. But in this match, she sold way too much for somebody who didn't even get an entrance. Layla Hirsch got over, as far as I'm concerned. I wanted to see more Layla Hirsch. I wanted to see less Serena Deeb. You know, and that's weird because Serena Deeb is actually pretty good. So they made me want to see less Serena Deeb. And she got too much offense in, you know, but whatever. And what they did for this Shawn Spears is what they should have did for Serena Deeb. Why the fuck? Now this is what here's my issue about just the AEW Dark stuff. Why the fuck does Shawn Spears have a 14-2 record? If you look at the record of everybody in the top 5, there's not many of them that have 14 wins. Why isn't Shawn Spears wrestling for a title? If his record is so good, he should be wrestling for a title. Yet he's not. And he's beating people in 8 seconds. He beat this guy in like 10 seconds. That's the most dominant win that has taken place on Dynamite other than Kenny Omega. So if Kenny Omega is, you know, about to be the number 1 contender, why the hell is Shawn Spears not even in contention? Because he's beating nobodies? Well, then maybe you ought to put him against people who matter. The dude has a 14-2 record. He should be in the top 5. He should be. Oh, but strength of schedule. Then strengthen his schedule. What the fuck you don't want controlling the schedule? This was stupid. You know, he had this VSK dude. He beat this dude in 8 seconds. The best Shawn Spears match possible. He's got to beat the guy in 8 seconds or something like that. And you're not going to put the guy in the top 10 spot, whatever. Anyway, Shawn Spears gets heckled by a bull. He goes out there to fight the bull. It ends up in Scorpio Sky. And Scorpio Sky deserves better than this. He legit should be like, I know that he's older, and he's one of those dudes who's older, and they're not really pushing older guys right now other than Cody and Kenny Omega and Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. But they're trying to really push a lot of the younger guys. You know, the Jungle Boys, the Darbys, the MJFs. They're trying to give those guys, you know, space and stuff like that. But Scorpio Sky is a guy who really should be doing more in this company, in AEW. He's not getting the opportunity. It's got to be because of his age, you know. I don't want to say what else it could be. Sheeta challenged Nyla Rose, and I'm like, what did Nyla Rose do to get a title shot? Exist? Because, you know, there's not that many women. And I still think they should have did the NWA world title versus the AEW world title. That would have made more sense. But I guess we got to go back to Nyla Rose. I already said that Orange Cassidy was bumped to the pre-show Full Gear. The rest of that bum from Dark Order. And Pentagon and Kenny Omega. They had a damn good match. I will give both guys credit for this. Pentagon does not do a lot. Okay? Pentagon does not do a lot. But what he does do, he does it well. His chops always look good. They always sound good. Penta's problem is that he's obsessed with taunting. Like, he has to taunt before everything now. You know, like he works the gimmick. The zero, miedo. He works the hell out of the gimmick. But this match was very self-indulgent. There was like 3, 4, you know, Kenny Omega spammed knee strikes. He knee striked him like 100 times. 3 V triggers, 3 Snapdragon suplexes. You know, he kicked out of Pentagon's finish with the package power driver. You know, he withstood the arm snapping spot. He just, you know, but it was still, you know, a good match. I'm not gonna say Penta. I don't like that Penta and Phoenix are essentially just doormats for the Elite. You know, like since they came in, that's all really Penta and Phoenix have done is get beat up by the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. I mean, that's really all they've done, and it's embarrassing. It sucks. Like, these guys could be good, and that's, you know, of course, you know, Phoenix almost killing himself, and I didn't really. I understood what they were trying to do with Kenny Omega having the Mega Championship on his waist as he wrestled. It was to taunt Phoenix, sure, but it made sense when the match was supposed to be Phoenix and Pentagon. Didn't really make that much of a... Well, because for people who don't know, Kenny Omega beat Phoenix for that title. But, you know, and yeah, Phoenix was outside the ring sort of selling how angry he was that Kenny Omega still has it, and, you know, he's mocking them, mocking their culture or whatever, which is fine. I just thought it was weird, you know, because I haven't seen that belt in forever and forgot he had it. But the match itself was pretty good. I can't complain. Other than they killed a lot of Pentagon's big moves, and Pentagon never wins any of these fucking matches. Like, he gets in these matches with the Elite. They're almost always pretty good, but he ends up being a doormat almost every time. So, I don't know. You know, I don't think he cares. You know, I don't think 2 guys care at all. Their English is not that good, so they're like, hey, it's all about the money. So it is what it is. But the match was good in and of itself. It was enjoyable. If you like Pentagon, you know, or you like Kenny Omega, you probably enjoyed the hell out of that match. And I like Pentagon, so I enjoyed it. You know, it was, so it is what it is. But thank you guys for listening. If you haven't hit the like, please hit the like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you feel like donating and being friendly, please do so. And thank you guys for your time, and I will talk to you guys later.